Salam Shalom and Ramzan Mubarak everyone. This is the Muslamic Infidel and you're watching the Weekly Fix. Now, as the dust settles on what was quite possibly the best E3 in recent years, today I'm going to count down to the top 10 best games, or my favourite games, of E3 2014. Let's go. Let's get straight into number 10, Far Cry 4. Now, I've never really been a big fan of Far Cry, primarily because I never quite got into the whole setting of it. I played the original Far Cry Instincts on the original Xbox, which I suppose was not the best start, but I tried playing Far Cry 2, which was set in Africa, which again I could not really get into. However, Far Cry 4 looks fantastic, both visually and the setting. I mean, the engine just seems so beautiful. I mean, the vistas that they showed. The game is set in the Himalayas in Asia, which is a scenery change from the last game, and some of the vistas and so forth looked absolutely amazing. But it just looked like a very action-packed sort of, almost gave a Die Hard type of vibe, Die Hard meets Rambo type of vibe. Now, story looks interesting and the setting looks very ambitious. But one of the main reasons why I was attracted to wanting to play is because Troy Baker, who Naughty Dog aficionados would remember, was the voice actor for Joel from The Last of Us, is actually lending his voice into the Far Cry game as well, which is always it's a good sign, which means that they're going to have some decent acting talent behind the actual story, and I suppose that's what I'm looking forward about it the most. I suppose from all of the things that I've seen in terms of the previous Far Cries, I like the setting. In the Himalayas, a guy who gets caught up in a civil war, and it's going to be a very almost harkening back to the original Far Cry of surviving through what looks like a huge shitstorm. So the game looks fantastic, and that's why it's at my number 10. Now, fighting games have always eluded me for some reason. I mean, I've always preferred shooting someone in the face as opposed to hand-to-hand combat in video games, so it's not something, and it's certainly not a genre that I was a fan of. But Injustice Gods Amongst Us from NetherRealm Studios was quite possibly one of the best fighting games to come out in recent years, and their new game Mortal Kombat X looks absolutely fantastic. The demos that they've showed it looks ultra gory. Again, going back to what the original games were all about, was just brutal ways to kill the opponent, and I suppose it adds that bit of novelty to it as well. It looks very back to basics, so the actual joy of beating someone to death, if you're into that sort of thing. The game looks stunning. The engine was always, was very, very good in Injustice Gods Amongst Us. So I dare say that the improvements for next generation platforms like Xbox One and PlayStation 4, the game's only going to look, look better. The fatalities again look absolutely gruesome and gorgeous, and the little X-ray vision that comes on, that as you see the bones cracking and so forth, again very, very cool. And it certainly is a break from the other fighting games fans that I've sort of spoke to. It certainly is a break from Street Fighter Alpha HD Ultra Mega 47 or whatever the hell Capcom are doing these days. So again, it should be great, and maybe it might get me into the fighting games genre, just like that like Tekken did for a bit until it turned to turd. So that's why at number 9 is Mortal Kombat X. Halo will always have a very, very special place in my heart because it started my love affair with Xbox. I've always been a gamer first, but I suppose Xbox is my chosen platform for a variety of very different reasons, but Halo was the reason why I fell in love with the console itself. So I was disappointed about the fact that there was no Halo 5 announcement, but at number 8 for me is Halo the Master Chief Collection, which is a collective collection of all of the Halo games that have got Master Chief in them. So you've got Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3 and Halo 4. Not including Reach and the other ones, I suppose. They've got the remastered Halo 1, which was a fabulous game on the original Xbox, and they've also got the remastered Halo 2. So they've sort of upped the graphics and so forth. But what was the most interesting thing that they showed at E3 was the fact that the game can be played and switched to at any point the original engine. So if you want to have a bit of a trip down memory lane, you can actually change the engine and the game to look like as it did 10 years ago, which is, I think, is a great way to sort of sell it to the people who would want to sort of replay it. However, I suppose it's a great chance for anybody who hasn't played the series to sort of play it. There's absolutely no reason to say, oh, I never played the first one, so I've got no reason to play the rest. But this would be a great chance to sort of start from beginning to end and finish the I think, a great sci-fi story of Master Chief in the Halo saga so far, before eventually Halo 5 Guardians comes out. But they've also said that all of the multiplayer maps from all of the games will be included in the game, which I think is fantastic. Halo is renowned for not only its great single player experience, but much more for its multiplayer experience, and I think to be able to play all of those maps, about 100 plus, is fantastic. And one of the other things you also get is an invite to the beta for Halo Guardians, which of course comes out in 2015. So it'd be a great chance to sort of get a taster of that. No reason for you to not play it if you've not got into the Halo games before, because it does look like a great package and a great way to end Microsoft's fall this year. Now, the original Assassin's Creed disappointed me so much that I was forever put off by the entire series, and especially the fact that they keep churning one out every year. However, at number 7, surprisingly even for me, is Assassin's Creed Unity. The setting looks very Les Mis. It's set in France during a pivotal time in not just French history but European history during the Revolution, and the engine once again looks fantastic. There's no reason why they shouldn't. The amount of people and crowd that they managed to squeeze in one place at the same time just is testament to how good their engine is. As I said, as well as the setting, the most intriguing thing for me is the co-op. My brother and my friend, my brother and my best friend, they're all really into the Assassin's Creed series, so it'd be great to sort of go with them and try to complete the main story as a 4-player co-op. It'd be a great experience. 4-player co-op always is great. From what I've heard, the previous games have been great as well in terms of co-op missions. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. So at number 7 is Assassin's Creed Unity. Really looking forward to it. Now, a great testament of how great E3 this year was is the fact that the Batman Arkham game, the Batman Arkham Knight, is only at number 6 for me. For those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm not even going to get into it. So I wanted to be fair, because I think that because it's part of a series, it doesn't deserve a spot higher up, because it's not really doing anything that much innovative. However, the game looks absolutely fabulous. I mean, there's no doubt that Rocksteady are going to produce a game much better than the previous one, which was done by Warner Brothers Studios, not Rocksteady. So you can expect something that is on par with Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. And Arkham Knight looks gorgeous. The cape looks amazing. The way that they showed him that he glides from the top of Wayne Tower and flies around Gotham City looks amazing. The suit looks fabulous. I mean, I've seen the Zack Snyder stuff that's coming out that Ben Affleck is supposedly going to wear, and then you've got Rocksteady's take on what the Batsuit should be, and it looks phenomenal. It's a body armor that sort of splits, and yeah. Not only that, you get to drive the Batmobile, which is reason enough. I mean, why would you not want to? It turns into a tank, and then it turns into a sports car almost, and it's there at your every command. And I think Rocksteady are really pushing for the Batmobile as an extension of Batman, very much so like it in the comics. It is, Batmobile is almost as iconic as Batman who drives it. So I think the open city, the setting and everything else looks absolutely fabulous, graphically and gameplay wise. And number 5 is Sunset Overdrive. It is a game by Insomniac Studios, who previously were only affiliated with Sony by making Resistance: Fall of Man and so forth. They've sort of gone into a partnership with Microsoft to make an exclusive exclusive third-person experience, Sunset Overdrive. It just looks fabulous. Again, in terms of that, it is a take. There's a different take on multiplayer. You know, right now we've got Titanfall and you know, you've got Battlefield Hardline coming out and Call of Duty as usual every year coming out. So it looks like a genuine alternative to multiplayer, which is something that I suppose most gamers are now looking for. We're tired of military shooters. I can't believe I'm saying it, but we are. And the game looks genuinely fun. The world and the art direction looks, you know, very, very Insomniac. You know, they're going back to what they're good at, which is, you know, these big crazy worlds and so forth. The gameplay mechanics look great. The weapons look very cool, very weird. You know, very trademark of Insomniac. They do make cool looking weapons and cool functioning weapons. So at number 5, we've got a very fun looking Sunset Overdrive. And number 4, I've got Hello Games' No Man's Sky. Now, from all of the games that I saw at E3, I think this was the one that surprised me the most, because it was by far the most interesting. They've got this great concept, and I don't know how it's going to work, that this is an ever-expanding universe. Every single player that is going to enter this world that they've created in this game is going to spawn on their own planet with their own unique ecology and ecosystems and flora and fauna almost it is. So you start off surviving in this little world that they spawn you in, and the chances of exploration is massive. You know, you can literally go in anywhere in this universe that's constantly being made almost, to the point where the game makers even said that they don't know how big it's going to be. So certainly that, in terms of innovation in that point, in that standpoint, it does look, you know, by far one of the most intriguing games of E3. The art design is very good, you know, very, very different. It makes it stand out, and I suppose they've taken that art you know, the art direction is like that for aesthetic purposes as well as mechanical purposes. You know, to physically make a universe that big with photorealistic graphics would be a huge undertaking, and we'll see how Destiny does a similar thing with what they're doing, but I'm not that interested in that. I think No Man's Sky looks amazing. The space battles that you can have once you leave your planet, they look very Star Wars-esque, very, very interesting, and it's all seamless, you know. So when you go into space, or when you're in your planet, or when you dive in the oceans of these planets, each one of them that you can go into, you know, the entire concept, the way they sold it was very convincing. The only questions that come out of it is exactly how deep is the game going to be? Is it just going to be quantity over quality? Don't know. Difficult to say. I suppose there will be some trade-offs, especially when the universe that you're trying to create is so so massive, but 10 out of 10 for innovation, I suppose. So at number 4, it's No Man's Sky. Now this time last year, I was absolutely blown away by The Division, which was a new Tom Clancy game that Ubisoft were making. Their engine, the Snowdrop engine, looked fantastic, and the game looked beautiful, the way that it flowed and so forth. However, due to recent controversy with Watch Dogs, I'm sort of skeptical of how good they could possibly make The Division, or whether or not The Division is going to suffer from the Watch Dogs syndrome, as in it's going to be hyped, and in the end you've got a game with the majority of its content on DLC, and they keep improving and churning another one out every year and year, withholding gameplay and so forth that they should in theory be implementing on the very first outing and trying to better themselves as it goes along. So that's why The Division doesn't make it into my top 10 this year. However, at number 3, what does make it, and from what I saw and what it looked like, is Rainbow Six Siege. I'm a huge Rainbow Six fan. I really enjoyed the Vegas series on the Xbox, and on the PC, the Rogue Spear series as well. So again, The Division, again, looks nice, but I think this one looks very intense, very team focused. I think the engine, the destructible, Frostbite, yes, very, very good. You can knock entire buildings down, but this one seems very close quarters, to be able to blow up plasterboard walls and get people through them, or blow holes in the floor and attack from above. The whole concept of it looks far more interesting and far more personal and far more engaging and team-based than anything Battlefield Hardline or modern Advanced Warfare from Call of Duty is doing. And number 2 is The Witcher 3. Now, I've never played any of the Witcher games, but I can honestly say that the new Witcher looks absolutely fabulous in terms of its it looks gorgeous. You can't deny that. The world that they've created and the huge expanse of it looks great, but it means nothing if the gameplay is not that great, right? So at E3 they actually demoed some great gameplay footage of The Witcher 3, and I can honestly say it looked very, very cool. It's got a bit of a Monster Hunter vibe about it, which looked great. You went off chasing a griffin, you have to shoot it and then obviously track it almost, and then when you fight it, he got into this very great combat sequence. So another thing that I saw was the cross questing, which is like, as he's searching for this griffin that he's injured, he's seen someone else, and then they ask you to come back to help them with something else or join them with something else, and sort of it felt very fluid, I suppose. I'm not really a big RPG type of guy, but The Witcher certainly looks great, and it feels like they've actually put a lot of effort into trying to make it look beautiful as well as function. So I'm really looking forward to it. So at number 2 is the very pretty Witcher 3. A lot of people say that I'm an Xbox fan because that's what I play my games on most, but some of my favourite games of all time have come out on the PlayStation. And for me, the best first-party studio in the world is Naughty Dog. There's no questions about it, and I was very shocked to see an actual in-game footage of Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, which goes at number 1 as my favourite game from E3 2014. Now, the reason for that simply is this: of all the games that I've mentioned before, they all look very, very pretty, and they all seem like, yes, visually we're going somewhere. However, nothing showed off the potential of next generation better than Uncharted. The first time you see Nathan Drake on that beach, and at night time, and the camera sort of pans into his face. The detail, I mean, it was absolutely jaw-dropping. And if there's one studio that's going to take out every single ounce of power from that PlayStation 4, it is going to be Naughty Dog. I mean, these guys, you know, are so fantastic at what they do. I mean, there's been a lot of issues with Naughty Dog recently. A lot of high-profile people have left the Uncharted project, including the series creator. But you've got Neil Druckmann from The Last of Us taking over as creative director of the Uncharted series. So maybe they will push it towards a new, fresh take as opposed to the previous games, all of which I'll absolutely adore. Right, that's the end for my top 10 games from this year's E3. I would like to apologize for the fact that there hasn't been that many episodes recently, but I do hope to make some more. Please do click the subscribe and the like button if you enjoyed it even minutely. But yes, and as always, thanks for watching.